graduate program in mental health counseling.
Miss Salim Jahid. I study computer science and math.
Timur Emrejivan, and I am econ major.
Haya, and I'm a film and media studies major.
What drew me to visit Artechouse was that my boyfriend was coming from out of town, and we were really interested in going and seeing the mesh between art and tech.
Just like my general passion for AI, I actually study that and sort of do work in the field.
He's Turkish, Refik Anadol, and a lot of my friends knew about it, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna support this artist that's doing something in New York. So I went with a friend from high school.
The excitement to go to an exhibit that blended the arts and sciences.
And was just really curious to see how sort of that artist chose to present this concept that is now very trendy to sort of a general public through the lenses and through like the medium of art.
I was mainly paying attention to what was being exhibited and the like tech part of it, like the lightings and stuff, the way they used like visuals to change structures.
The colors, the movement, the soundtrack.
The movement and how like everything was shifting, and what were we trying to look at while the shifts were happening. And it was usually the shift from like going from a building to suddenly small like circles. So I was always trying to follow like the pattern that he was going from like, I guess, art to architecture, then to just random images, and then also the artificial intelligence aspect, I guess.
The particular choices that are not specific to AI, that's sort of like the artistic layer on top, that acts as sort of the intermediary between the technology and the viewer. And so, for example, like the boxes and like the electrical sounds come in, like, and like the descriptions like Conv 2D, which are sort of references to specific technologies used in machine learning. Another thing was these like actual content, for example, the plans for the city and the pictures of different places in New York that were sort of changing and merging using like generative models. As I was watching, I was kind of thinking about how, like, what was exactly used to get that.
Did I understand the mechanics of it? Not quite.
I definitely didn't understand the mechanics of it.
So I definitely did not understand the mechanics of it. I went with a friend who did like engineering, so she kind of explained it a bit.
I was lucky to have this friend of mine with me to kind of explain it, and I did try and go into the back room where it was explained and read up a little bit on it later, but I definitely can't say I can actually get a grasp of what it exactly how it was put together.
I think anyone who knows something about artificial intelligence, anyone in the field would know exactly what was used. There are very specific research papers in actually something called generative models that work on art applications for AI, or AI applications for art. And so these models would look at a lot of data and be able to actually understand the specifics of, say, what a face looks like, what a specific animal looks like, and generate images of that. So yeah, I sort of had a background and was able to understand how it worked.
My favorite thing was just like the big room where everyone's just sitting down, staring at the images that are like fluctuating. I think it was really, really fun. It was just really chill, and it's like you get to think, but at the same time like watch this thing happening.
In the room above, there was a side room where you could see the shift of New York, and it was as if you were walking in New York, and there was constantly changes, and it was the New York's images, buildings throughout the years, and like the shift of it, and that for someone who like every time that walks around New York loves like the city, that was really nice to see how it's been shifting, and like it was walking throughout the city in the years. I think that was just my favorite thing, even though I think it wasn't the center piece of his exhibition.
It's both my favorite and least favorite part of the exhibit, which is the fact that you can take so much from it. So there was a lot of people that were just there, to take Instagram photos and spent the whole time just like waiting for a different background to appear. There was people who were just like sat on the floor and looked up and enjoyed what was happening, and then you could tell that there were people that were more interested in the AI aspect of it, which is really cool that like a space can unite so many different people, but at the same time it's definitely alarming that people can go in and get such different experiences, because obviously like an artwork is always going to incite different reactions from people, but in this case like the reactions range from 0 to 100.
I think my favorite thing about the exhibit was the fact that it was in like this room and that it was all covered, like you were immersed in the art. I had never been, I think, to anything like that.
Was it a tech piece? Was it an art piece? I mean, art is really changing nowadays, so I think anything can be an art piece. So I think this definitely was a type of art piece, not what we traditionally consider art.
I think it's both a tech piece and an art piece. I would say it's more leaning towards art because he's using artificial intelligence as a tool to create art.
I think it's both a tech and art piece. I wish that people who see it as an art piece can get more of the tech side of it, and the people who see it as a tech piece can understand more of the art side of it. But at the end of the day, I do think Refik Anadol put a lot of effort into the scientific and the machine learning and artificial intelligence side of things, but still made a lot of creative decisions that were clearly purely aesthetic.
I think it was both a tech piece and an art piece, obviously. Yeah, there's both parts to it.
I think he definitely blended them in together because I didn't think about, oh, is this a tech piece or an art piece? I just thought, oh, these are two elements that are coming together. So I think he really brought the two together.
I think it blended the two fields together. It did not separate them. It for sure blended them. I think there's even more opportunity for technology in general and AI specifically to take on more sort of part in art.
I do feel like this is kind of blending them in. I feel like art is a lot about like creativity, and by incorporating other fields, you're showing how you use other fields creatively, and for me that's what I consider art.
Definitely think it attempts to blend both fields together. But at the same time, because things like machine learning and AI aren't accessible to the public yet, it did highlight, to at least personally to me, my lack of knowledge when it comes to these technologies, and it made me see the gap between the art world and the tech world, even though they're starting to come together. It makes me realize that there's like a vast disparity in knowledge when it comes to these things.